Brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network.
Just the facts, please. Join Between the Facts podcast. They explore the life and death and conspiracies surrounding notable figures whose stories have captivated the public imagination. The deaths of Kurt Cobain, John Lennon, Tupac Shakur, and more are all explored here. So listen to Between the Facts podcast, another podcast brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast.
Ladies do like cowboys and bondage, do they not?
Yeah, and as a parent, you'd hire this guy for your kid's party. He's fucking great. He's a great kid entertainer.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the You Gonna Eat That Crust podcast. I am your host on the ones and twos. You know they call me Follically Challenged. You know they call me the Sweatpants Overlord. You know I got the sexiest varicose veins in the whole goddamn planet.
Woo-hoo.
Your boy, Greg Hoey. And with me, the razor blade himself, the king of Connecticut. I mean, if there's mustard around, it's going to be smuggled. The mustard smuggler himself, Sheamus Rogers. Sheamus, how you doing?
What up, Greg? My main damie. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah. And Ryan couldn't make it today because we had a fallout. Sheamus, would you like to explain what we're doing on today's episode, please?
Welcome back, Crust lovers, to another captivating episode of the You Gonna Eat That Crust podcast. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. He's the mastermind behind the You Run Podcast Network, a true connoisseur of all things podcasting, and an incredible storyteller. We're diving into the post-apocalyptic world of the Fallout TV show, and joining us, none other than the talented individual who has been revolutionizing the podcast world with his innovative approach and captivating content. Whether you're a seasoned podcaster or just dipping your toes into the podcasting waters, his insights and experiences are sure to inspire and entertain. Joining us today, the creative mind behind the You Run Podcast Network, the man with the vision, Scott Harding. Scott, welcome back to the show, man. How you been?
I've been great. What an introduction. Absolute bullshit, but what a great introduction.
Not true. You're being humble.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. Thank you for having me back. I'm thrilled to be back. I love your show and I love, everything Fallout. So this episode's going to be amazing for me. This is like, for me, this is just pure indulgence of what I love. And I don't get to talk about it anywhere else. So, I'm thrilled. Honestly thrilled.
Definitely. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, there's only 8 episodes, but a lot goes on in the show, and there's a lot intertwining between, everything. And you learn the plot slowly, and they don't even explain everything in some way.
No, and I really like the way they do that as well. And I love the fact, before we get into it, one thing I love that they've done is they didn't just follow one of the games. The Fallout world is so ginormous and there's so many stories. So instead of doing what sort of The Last of Us done, where then you get the whole gaming world going, well, that's not quite what they've done in the game. I don't like that. That character doesn't look how I think they should. They just went, we'll forget all of that. We'll just tell our own story in this world. And that's what made it so good for me.
Yeah, I think I read an article like Todd Howard from Bethesda. He didn't want to tell those stories. He wanted this to be a separate story of its own, just in the, the Fallout world.
Yeah.
And I think it works. I think it's perfect because you can't have any expectations or letdowns, that are associated with like casting or the storyline or cutting characters, like that, all that stuff, like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and they capture the game perfectly as far as the humor, the violence, and just the great storytelling. Last of Us means so much to me as a game, and I do love the show. The show is fantastic, but to me, Fallout is just explosively better.
Yeah, just a separate league.
Yep.
It may not be a better drama, but it's definitely a more entertaining show.
Agreed. I'm not going to cry during Fallout. I might, but...
Cry of laughter. All right. So, Scott, how is the movie coming along? Do you have a release date yet, or are you not ready to
It's getting there. So I've got kind of everything together as I want it. There's a couple of little things I want to change, and I was due to do that before I had my tumble. I've reached an age now where I have falls, apparently, and that put me out of commission for literally this week is the first week I've been able to move properly again. So yeah, I'm hoping for a late summer release, so end of August, maybe first week of September. But there's a couple of little bits I want to tweak. I've got one scene that is quite gory, and I want to reshoot it because I found a better way to do it to make it look better than it does now. And yeah, then convince my wife to clean the kitchen again after I've done it.
You want to give your show a pump? You know, you do true crime and you get the You Run horror movie review.
Yeah, anything up and coming?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it really short and sweet with plugs like yourunpodcast.com. When you get there, there's links to all of our socials, links to all of our shows, links to everyone on the network, and links to our shop. Just go there, and anything you want in our network, in our podcasting world, in our social media, it's all there. Front page, just click on what you need.
Yeah, check out all the shows, please. All right, so let's get into it. So episode 1, the end. This episode starts, we introduce Walton Goggins, Googs. Love this guy. He's Cooper Howard. He's a one-time prominent actor and big star. It appears his time in the spotlight has passed and his life's taken a downward turn because he's now doing birthday parties with his cowboy routine. You know, he's showing off his lasso skills, pressing the ladies with his lasso skills, but the ladies do like cowboys in bondage, do they not?
That's true.
Yeah, and as a parent, you'd hire this guy for your kid's party. He's fucking great. He's a great kids entertainer.
Yeah, I mean, he even brings his daughter along as part of the act.
Yeah.
We learn like a little bit about the atmosphere of the world. Like, they don't really say who's at war. You know, this war has been going on for like 10 years at this point, and it's actually between U.S. and China, but I don't think they ever actually say that on the show, do they? Anybody recall hearing that?
No, I don't think they do. And they do a very good job of kind of saying that it's going on, but the general population have kind of reached the point where, like, it's been going on forever. We don't really care. We're just going to have our garden party. We've got a cowboy. Did anyone see our cowboy? That's kind of where the mindset for the people are. And I like that because that's true to life. Like, there's wars going on all the time. And let's be honest, day to day, none of us are really that. But it doesn't affect our daily lives.
Right. Well, until it comes to your home.
Until it does, yeah.
Till they drop the atom bomb.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the show, they don't always come out. They don't hold your hand. They don't explain everything, which I think is a good form of storytelling. So I appreciate that. But again, I had to like look this up online to find out that it was U.S. and China at war for like 10 years at this point in the show. And, you know, they're calling people pinkos, leftists in politics. They're like not quite communist red, but enough for people to label them and look down upon them. And I think that's where Cooper Howard's character is at the start of the show. He's been scorned and he's not, you know, in the limelight anymore. And you see him at the birthday party and his daughter is sad, staring through the window, looking at all the kids eating cake. So anyways, he goes in, tries to rustle her up a piece of cake. And this is when the first nuke arrives. Chaos ensues. I mean, you see like that family going into their bunker and like his friends trying to get in with him and he just like punches him in the face, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, they proceed to drop 3 more nukes in succession. After that, this is where we were introduced to life in Vault 33, you know, a self-sufficient underground community in Southern California. This is 219 years after the Great War. This episode centers around Lucy McLean, a cheerful and optimistic vault dweller preparing for her wedding to a man from the neighboring Vault 32. You know, they portray the Vault Society as wholesome and cooperative with traditions like arranged marriages to maintain genetic diversity between the vaults.
The vault design is so good. If you're a fan of the game, like as soon as you get that opening shot of like the vault door sort of swinging open as they bring you in, as soon as you go in, you just go, oh wow. Because like even down to little details, like they've got a Nuka-Cola sat on the desk. They've got a Salisbury steak in a box. You're like, oh, they've put so much effort into the little details that if you didn't play the game, you'd watch this and go, oh, that's cool. But as someone who's played through the games, you're like, oh, and there's that. Oh, and that's that fridge design. Like, you kind of already know the layout because you've been in these vaults already and you're like, oh, yeah, well, it's that main corridor and then they're going to go down to that area. It's so well put together.
Yeah, and they like live in these little pods that are all like side by side and like the main avenue of the street you could walk by like their front window. Like if they don't have they can have their curtains open and just watch people like walking around.
Yeah.
Watch them eat their Blamco mac and cheese.
Yes. There were a lot of little Easter eggs like that, which they didn't shove them in your face. They did them subtly, which was great.
Yep.
And then so we see Lucy. They're preparing this community wedding dress. You know, you see all the names written inside the wedding dress, and they're dated. I think the last one to use it was her friend Stephanie Harper, and it says March 17th, 2294. They pan the camera away before you see Lucy sign it, but I believe the year is 2297 now. So then Lucy's introduced to her future husband, Monty, from Vault 32. And at the wedding dinner, this is funny, Lucy asks Monty what his sperm count is. And her friend Stephanie looks up, all interested, waiting for the answer.
The thing is, when she first meets him, my instant, like before she meets him, she stood there waiting for him to come through the door. I was like, he's going to be the ugliest motherfucker on the face of the earth, and that's going to be the gag. And then when it opened, he's like borderline like Brad Pitt in his 20s. I was like, well,
Yes.
This could have been worse for you. So yeah, congratulations.
She seemed eager enough.
And she's DTF right away.
As the watcher, we could see the camera pan around, and we look at all these guests from Vault 32. They're all like tattooed and scarred. You know, we get the impression they're not from Vault 32. So Lucy and Monty go away, and you know the attack begins while Lucy and Monty are in Lucy's private quarters. You can tell these aren't typical wasteland scavengers. They're organized. They have a specific target. But anyways, back in the room, Lucy and Monty are about to get intimate, and Lucy's definitely eager for it. She's eager to procreate. You know, that's probably what she's been taught throughout the years. You know, we got to make more babies.
More vault babies.
After the act, he stands up. He's gazing out the window, and he's like wipes his dick on the curtain.
When he done it, I was like, "Oh my god, he actually did." Okay, fine.
she shrugs it off, and this is where he tells her, he's like, "Just so you know, this was the best day of my life." And then he proceeds to try and kill her. They have a good fight scene, and Lucy does a good job holding her own. You can see that she's been trained in self-defense, but he ends up, pulling out this wicked-looking knife, and he stabs her in the side, and this is where she smashes a vase and cuts his face open.
Yeah, brutally.
Yeah.
That's some
Pretty
cool
brutal.
gore right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And then she goes to the bathroom and takes a stim pack. I think this is our first stim pack of the series.
This was cool as well. When she's like, I'm like, "Oh, you're fucked. Like, you're stabbed. You're in so much trouble." And she opens it up. As soon as I saw the stim pack, I was like, "Oh, you're fine." Like,
Right?
jab yourself with that. Your health goes right up. You'll be absolutely cool.
Miraculous cure. So the leader of the Raiders is revealed to be Moldaver, and their primary objective is to capture Lucy's father, Hank McClane, the overseer of Vault 33. And then we get this epic vault battle scene, with the old-time music playing while both sides are killing each other. Vault dwellers acquitted themselves well versus the Raiders. A lot died on both sides. Lucy's friend Stephanie gets the fork in the eye, and she proceeds to continue to fuck shit up.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's awesome.
We get another Easter egg here where that Raider injects himself or takes what I assume is Jet, right?
Psycho.
Yeah.
Or
Psycho?
Yeah, it's
It's
Jet.
one of those. I thought it was Jet. Using Jet, it's an altered state of consciousness where the time slows, allowing the user to perform more actions than normal for a limited period of time. So if you're familiar with the game, you get some more action points, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, it is highly addictive. So Lucy comes out to help her fellow vault dwellers. She's kicking ass through it. She saves her brother Norm, stashes him in a little hidey hole.
Little Norm.
Her father seems to be pretty badass too. This is where Monty comes back with his face in ruins. I thought he was dead for sure. Her dad drowns in the pickle barrel. And this is where Moldave, her crew finally subdues the resistance. She comes in, gives Lucy a choice, her father or the rest of her vault dwellers, right?
Yeah.
Her father kind of convinces her to go and lock herself up. Before she triggers the bomb, I think Moldaver, talks to Lucy through the doorway and tells her, "You look just like your mother," right? So we know there's some history between them. And the episode ends with Lucy leaving the vault to track down Moldaver and her father. And after the attack, Norm, Lucy's brother's curious, and he goes to check out Vault 32, where these Raiders came from. And we just see that it's barren and the vault trashed and empty. On to episode 2. The target. This one starts with the Enclave doctor, Wilzig. He's raising the dog, CX404.
Did you instantly assume this guy was a bad guy?
The way they were treating the dogs, I was like, I don't know if I like this.
Till you see how he treats the dog,
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like, as soon as I saw him, I went, oh, you're the evil scientist. You're the nuclear
Right.
physicist. That's what you are.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, lovely dog. Oh, here, have a treat. Oh, we'll take you for a walk. I'm like, yeah, you're not the bad guy. You're okay.
Right.
I thought you were bad, but you're not.
The dog was meant to be euthanized, right? It was like,
Yeah.
it had some defect, I don't know, and he was supposed to put it down. He didn't have the heart. He squirreled it away in a hole in the wall.
I remember seeing an interview with Walton Goggins, and he was talking about the dog, and he called it something like dog or meat dog or something like that. I'm like, dog meat, bro. You gotta know this shit.
Yes, in the games, the dog was named Dog Meat, right?
Yep.
So we see him working on this project. We see him inject himself with this little blue capsule. This mysterious blue pill is cold fusion technology. It's supposed to produce unlimited energy. It was originally created in 2077 by Moldaver and a crew, aka the Raider leader from the New California Republic. They didn't quite reveal that yet.
Spoiler alert.
We're heavily spoiling this show here, so I forgot to give you a disclaimer in the beginning.
Yeah, well, if you've got to this point, you've gone shit. There's spoilers. Like, you go and watch the show and come back, or just listen to this and you don't need to watch the show.
Yeah, hit pause and come back.
Yeah.
Then we see one of his fellow scientists come in the room, and he discovers the dog that's supposed to be destroyed. And he's about to hit the alarm. Well, he does hit the alarm button, right? The dog ends up attacking him and protecting Wilzig.
Rips like the dude's throat out or something.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like fucking super brutal.
So they end up having to escape with the dog, and then you get that the sentry guns from the games comes out and starts shooting at them.
That scene of the escape's really cool as well. That shot where he's running down, and as he's running down, the guns are popping up and like destroying the wall behind him. It's one of those scenes that you're like, fucking run. Don't stop, just keep going. I like the first episode, I was really invested and I was really like, oh, this is really cool and it's really reminiscent of the game. It was this episode where I really started going, there's more to, like the games, there's more to just the main arc. And I know this is all going to come together. And this is where I was like, I'm locked in now. So I watched this first time. I put the first episode on about 10 o'clock at night. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was still going. I'm like, I really need to go to bed in a minute.
Those guns are way more accurate in the game than they are in the show.
Yeah.
If I can touch them at all in the fucking game, you can't even stand near them. They'll fuck you up.
That's obviously the convenience of the story of the show.
Yeah.
So the Brotherhood of Steel, another faction, and the bounty hunter, Ghoul Cooper Howard, Walton Goggins, ends up taking the contract on him to find the scientists. Lucy is fresh out of the vault, venturing out into the harsh wasteland for the first time. Her naivete is quickly tested as she encounters the dangers of the surface, including mutated creatures and opportunistic wastelanders.
I loved the first sort of guy, the guy in the house that she meets.
Oh, yes. Who proposes her in marriage. He's like, come stay with me. This will all be yours.
Yeah.
Because when you play the game, you find just these random bullshit characters that don't do anything. And as soon as that happened, I was like, is this going? Oh, no, it's just someone to waste her time.
And that is funny, like the game where you're just wandering the wasteland and you always come upon, random places and encounters. And that's some of the best parts of the game is just randomly walking the world and seeing all the places to visit and the people, the characters in the game.
You meet someone who goes, could you get me some water? And you haven't got any, and you go on like an 18-hour hike to go and find this guy some water. Yeah. Bring it back, and he's like, oh, I already found some, but thanks for that. You're like, fuck's sake.
I mean, that's why I appreciate they keep it true to, the humor of the games in the show, too.
Very much so.
So she offers him some water, and he pounds the whole thing and drinks it all. She's like, hey, I need that. And he's like, somebody offers you clean water, you drink it. And so this her first night on the surface, she gets visitors to her camp. First, the dog, CX-404, shows up, immediately runs off, and this is where he pulls a rad roach from the shadows and proceeds to maul it. And the Enclave scientist, Dr. Wilzig, emerges. He recognizes her in her vault dweller jumpsuit and warns her to go back. Says, the surface is no place for you. So then we're introduced to Maximus, a young squire in the Brotherhood of Steel. He's initially presented as somewhat cowardly and insecure. He's haunted by a past trauma involving a nuclear blast. He's not the original one to get assigned to Knight Titus, right? It was his friend Dane, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they put the knife in Dane's boot and then he got assigned after that.
Well, later on, we find out that she did it to herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually blame Maximus, I believe.
Yep, they do.
But anyways, he's the next choice, I guess. So she's injured, and he gets assigned to Knight Titus. He makes him clean his codpiece.
Played by Michael Rappaport.
Right. So he's a more seasoned, arrogant member of the Brotherhood. And, we find out he's Michael Rappaport. It was great. So that's a great scene when they meet up with the Rad Bear.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's where he's like, we're not really going to do a lot. Like, you find out that the Knight just doesn't care. He's not invested. He's a bit cowardly. And then when the bear attacks, you're like, yeah, you kind of deserve this. And he tries to run away. He tries running away. And then after he's run away and he's injured, he tries blaming Titus. He's like, this is all your fault. I was like, how is it his fault?
Yeah. You fucking idiot.
But also, it is his fault because remember, he's the one that's just like, oh, just drop me randomly here. I need to shoot something.
Yeah.
He wasn't even supposed to be. He had a mission. They were on their way to Philly to hunt down Dr. Wilzig. Knight Titus gets mortally wounded by the Rad Bear, and he's begging Maximus to get him a stim pack. Maximus doesn't. He's the guy was a piece of shit to him, so he's like, yeah. So anyways, Maximus seizes the opportunity. He takes Titus's armor and assumes his identity in hopes of climbing the ranks within the Brotherhood. His deception begins immediately as he interacts with, he makes a call into the Brotherhood members. This is where he maintains his facade as being Knight Titus. So next we see Cooper Howard in present day. He's a bounty hunter ghoul, and we get to see him and his hand cannon in action. This scene is amazing in Philly, where all the main characters come together, right?
Yeah, and this scene sort of where he's hunting the doctor, and he sat. You see him throughout this before he does anything. He's there all the time, just sat with his arms folded on the chair. And as soon as he gets his opportunity, that bit where he kind of sits up and the guns come out, it's very like Wild West, old cowboy, and he starts firing. And you're like, shit, this is awesome. And they even slow it down so you get that kind of the same way they do the pause shots in the game.
The sound effects.
The VATS.
VAT system. Yeah.
His little side piece is a very powerful caliber. I don't know what it is, but
it'll take your leg off.
Yeah.
It's definitely dramatic. So yeah, he confronts Dr. Wilzig as they're on the stoop of the shopkeeper's place there. Dr. Wilzig and Lucy were talking, and this is where Coop comes up, and he proceeds to shoot one of the doctor's feet right off. And the shopkeeper offers 1,000 bottle caps to anyone that could take him down. So Cooper proceeds to show us that he's a badass gunslinger, and he takes down, I don't know, like at least
everyone.
a score of thugs from town. This is where Lucy takes the opportunity to go inside, and she wants to check the shopkeeper's logbook for any info on Moldaver. And so in this gunfight, seems like bullets don't seem to hurt Cooper. He shrugs them off. We see the dog defend the doctor who attacks Cooper, and Cooper stabs the dog.
Yeah. Dick move.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and what makes you think that he's an asshole to the dog, but he's like a huge dog guy, in the end.
Well, at this point he is an asshole. I mean, he's portrayed as an asshole.
Yeah.
We don't really know his full personality at this point.
Let me just say, when the doctor gets his leg put on the machine there, it was fucking brutal, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The added blood loss is probably what led to his failing.
Yeah.
So you see all the blood just going into that basin.
Yeah.
So he stabs the dog, but doesn't he end up stimming the dog afterwards?
He does later.
Yeah. But anyways, Lucy intercedes. She shoots Coop with that dart gun that she was so effective with in the vault fight. It doesn't seem to affect him at all, similar to bullets. And this is where Maximus shows up in his power armor and saves Lucy. He takes a bullet for her. There's a fight between Cooper and Maximus. A little ridiculous, the lasso part. And, But anyways, Lucy and the doctor escape. The doctor is mortally wounded and cannot go on, right? It's this part where he tells her to cut his head off, and he pulls out like a little portable chainsaw. A little melodramatic here. I don't know why I can't just hand her a scalpel and be like, cut that out, but maybe it can't. Yeah. Maybe it's an environment. It needs to be in like a sterile environment. It could be, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's really cool as well, where he's like, here's the chainsaw, chop my head off. Also, before you do that, give me your pip, boy, so I can put in the coordinates of where you need to take my head. And like that, I thought was really cool. He's like, puts the coordinates in. I'm like, oh man, like even the detail of that is just, it's extra. Like, you don't need to do this. Like, they could have done this and left all those little details out, but I'm so glad they didn't.
Well, they do this later on, too. You see her, you've reached your destination, how it used to pop up on the screen in the game.
Yeah, and you get the little guy with the thumbs up. Like, yeah.
When she gives him the chainsaw, too, she's like, I don't want to do this. He's like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm dead anyway. I just took a cyanide pill.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the Pip Boys they made for all the cast were somewhat functional, I guess, too.
It's awesome.
So anyways, this is where the episode ends with her chopping off the doctor's head.
Yeah, and she's done one day in the wasteland. She's been in a gunfight. She's been conned. She's decapitated someone, and now she's stood in the wasteland with a severed man's head looking at the sunrise. Like, that's a rough day. This is after, obviously, pretty much everyone she knows has been massacred.
Right.
She had a bad 24 hours.
Yeah, she's just like, okie dokie.
Yes. That's really show the stark differences between her vault life and, topside life. So episode 3, The Head. So yeah, Lucy's still carrying Wilzig's head through the desert. She reaches the ruins of Hollywood. Bizarre scene where she has a conversation with the severed head. She's touching it like it's a lapdog or something. But she has the foresight to place a tracker in its nose. Not sure where she obtained said tracking device.
She takes it off her Pit Boy, right, I think?
Yeah.
Oh, is that where I don't remember seeing that. So yeah, we come to a good scene where, the Gulper scene, where Lucy stops to rest and this large creature from the water emerges and proceeds to swallow Wilzig's head.
Yeah, and this is where the ghoul turns up as well, as this is where Goggins turns up.
Yep.
And like they were going to pursue the head. And he's like, oh shit, I can't do that. I need drugs. Let's go get drugs instead. And I love the fact that he just abandoned the main mission. He's like, I know this is the shit we need to do, but I now have a side quest and we have to do that right now. And like he literally drags her off frame as soon as that happens. And I just smiled ear to ear when that happened.
Yeah, we see him taking his drugs, which I assume is Rad-X.
I think
in the
so.
game, that drug increases your resistance to radiation. It's probably the only thing keeping him alive, or at least from going feral, I presume.
That creature's got a mouthful of Megan Fox toe thumbs.
Yes. The creature was great. Well, yeah, this is where Cooper shows up and he captures her, demanding to know where the head is. He proceeds to use her as bait, dangling her in the radiated water to lure the Gulper back.
Yeah.
He keeps dipping her in with a rope. And she thinks she's being tortured until she realizes she's bait. During the struggle with the Gulper, Lucy accidentally breaks all the vials of the ghoul's crucial medication, sending him into a rage.
Yeah.
And then we go back to Maximus, who is getting his Squire replacement. And we see Thaddeus again.
Played by Johnny Pemberton. The guy's
He
awesome.
was great. And so he proceeds to treat Thaddeus similar to how Titus treated him. And some of my favorite moments of this episode were the interactions with Maximus and Thaddeus.
Yeah.
They're hilarious together, and you could tell they're both inexperienced and clearly don't know what they're doing. And that's kind of where that episode ends. So we're on to episode 4, The Ghouls. Lucy is still a captive of Coop, and he's dragging her along as he continues his pursuit of Wilzig's head. Yeah, why did they leave if they knew the head was...
He needed drugs.
Oh, this is where he's like, we're going to go.
Yeah, he needed drugs because if he didn't have drugs, he would have gone feral. And he makes a comment along the lines of, I've lasted this long without that happening. This shit ain't happening today. So you are coming with me to go buy some drugs.
He's coughing, obviously, as well, too.
Yeah. And what currency he has. Like, when he does what he does, I was like, oh man, this is so dark. I'm so invested, but what you're about to do is the darkest thing in this whole damn series.
Yeah, he's like Jeffrey Epstein in her.
Yeah.
He's kind of a bastard, but I mean, during the trials, they encounter other wastelanders, and, it goes to show her how brutal you have to be to survive. And it's like survival of the fittest reality on the surface. Despite his harshness, she observes, the ghoul's cunning, and, she also glimpses moments of former humanity. So back to Maximus, still posing as Knight Titus and his reluctant squire Thaddeus. They continue their mission to retrieve Wilzig's head. So they're tracking the head with some device Thaddeus brought with him. Part 2 with the Gulper comes. This scene was great too.
Yeah.
They retrieve the head, but Thaddeus almost gets eaten by the Gulper. Maximus like saves him, pulling him out of it, like prolapses the gulper's innards or something.
Yeah.
And all kinds of shit comes out, right? Including the head. So this is where Maximus this might be his final check-in with the Brotherhood. He communicates with them, reporting his success that he has the head.
Yeah.
This episode delves deeper into Cooper Howard's pre-war life as a famous Western actor. We see more of his relationship with his wife, Barb, and her increasingly involvement with Vault-Tec. The flashbacks reveal unsettling details about Vault-Tec's true intentions and their experiments. And then we go back to Vault 33. We have some funny scene. Remember Stephanie Harper, Lucy's best friend? Remember during the battle, she lost her husband, right?
Yeah.
And so she goes to Chet's house in the pretense of seeing if he wants Bert's possessions. They're talking. Remember, like, Chet holding up Bert's shoes? They're so tiny. And he's like, I'll treasure these or whatever.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was a great character. There's a lot of great side characters in this show.
Yeah.
In the Vault, especially. So she dresses him up in Bert's clothes, and jumps him, has sex with him. But she hilariously makes him keep Bert's clothes on while they do it.
Yeah.
He sticks his hands down her pants. Well, that's one wet lady.
Yeah.
and then her baby's water proceeds to break. She's pregnant, right? With Bert's baby.
Oh.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So another great scene with your boy here, Greg. We go to the Super Duper Mart. And Snip Snip, another throwback to the game, these medical droids voiced by Matt Berry. This is where Cooper shows up. He's attempting to sell Lucy for 2 months of his drug Rad-X, 2 month supply.
Does anybody else have a better voice than Matt Berry? Matt Berry is just maybe the man, dude.
What's the name? Benjamin Archer?
Boston's own H. John Benjamin. Yeah.
Yes.
Archer and Bob's Burgers.
Previously, remember, Coop was pretty ruthless and he cut one of her pinky off or something, right?
Yeah.
So you get inside and the Medbot proceeds to open a drawer full of like
fingers,
just all kinds of fingers. And he proceeds to sew this dead organ on her hand. And Lucy's like, I thought I was being brought here to be a sex slave. And Snip Snip says, what a disgusting idea. No, I'm simply going to harvest your organs.
This is hilarious because he's so polite. And there was a moment here where I've gone, maybe this isn't a bad situation. Maybe Goggins has just been absolutely stitched up and she's been given to someone who's going to protect her. He's like, I'm just going to harvest your organs. Then the arm comes up and the saw starts going. I'm like, oh, man, the humor is so dark. I think if you went into this and you didn't have a dark sense of humor, there'd be a lot of people going, oh, throughout this series.
That's perfect casting for Codsworth or Snip Snip. For Matt Berry.
Yeah.
I think it's a little ridiculous how easily she escapes from her restraints and everything and gets away.
Yeah.
And so she ends up finding like a bunch of ghouls in cells, right? And she decides to set all the ghouls free, including the ferals. But this is where we pan back to Norm, Lucy's brother. He learns from the prisoners from Vault 32, the residents of Vault 32 were up to something suspicious there. So he tries to access the information from a terminal, but his clearance is restricted. But this is where he goes to Chet's apartment to ask for help. And Stephanie is in the middle of giving labor. So it's pretty funny. Chet is uncomfortable, wants to get out of there, agrees to go with him to Vault 32. So they go investigating Vault 32, and they see that whatever befell Vault 32 happened roughly 2 years previously. They find everyone dead in gruesome fashions throughout the vault. Norm finds a terminal to hack and learns that his mother is the person that opened the surface door and let the raiders inside.
Yeah, which is what makes him question. He has a moment where he's like, but my mum never went outside, so how would our key card be outside to let people in?
Right. He's getting suspicious now, and, we'll find out these questions about this later on. Back to the Super Duper Mart, everyone basically gets killed. Ghouls and the guys working this drug store. Even Snip Snip gets blasted in the fight. She escapes, though. She sees Cooper lying in the dirt where he fell unconscious because he's out of his meds, right? So he's got radiation sickness. She has pity on him and leaves him a bunch of meds that she pilfered from the Super Duper Mart. And this is where the episode ends.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing with her doing that as well, because it shows that she is the only person in this entire series that is actually a good person throughout. Regardless of what's thrown at her, she's always does the right thing. And especially in the game, I know we keep comparing it to the game, but the game is a choice-driven game. You can play the game and you can be the nicest person in the world, or you can be the Cooper character. You can be the biggest arsehole. And I love they found a way to show you how both of those choices pan out by having one character heavily making bad choices and one making all the good choices. And I thought it was so clever. I didn't expect them to have that level of storytelling. I'll be honest, when I put this on, it's an Amazon Prime series. I sat down and went, this is going to be shit. And it's really not. They really invested so much time to make everything just feel so authentic.
Even in the games, right, you could kill the NPCs, even you could screw yourself out of quest lines. Some cases you couldn't kill them all. There were some integral to the story that you couldn't, but
who's the girl in Fallout 4 who is like the drug addict and you have to like give her drug. It's Mama something. I forgot what her name is, but you have to kill her. You just pump her full of drugs and she gives you like more information.
Yeah.
It's Mama something, I think.
So yeah, you see Lucy's compassion, the way she was raised. And it's also, let's be honest, it's convenient for the future storyline where Cooper isn't going to kill her, right?
Yeah.
So episode 5, The Past. This episode starts with Maximus and Thaddeus sitting around a campfire with the head, and they're laughing about their encounter, their bonding, their encounter with the Gulper. And Thaddeus randomly comes out. He's like, "Hey, why don't you brand me?" Yeah. So this seems like a normal thing for knights to do to their squires in the Brotherhood, branding them. He's a little reticent for a moment, but he exceeds and he proceeds to brand Thaddeus. And then immediately, right after branding him, it's hilarious. He tells him the truth. He opens up his face mask and he reveals that he is not Titus. He's Maximus. Just right after branding him. You didn't think to say this before you brand him?
Yeah. And Thaddeus's response is, "I'm going to tell on you." It's really juvenile. They're sort of, "Will you brand me?" "No, I shouldn't." "Please brand me." "Okay, I'll brand you. Oh, by the way, I'm not a knight. I'm telling everybody what you've done." It's that kind of vibe to it.
Maximus asks him to play along with his story. Thaddeus isn't playing along.
No.
So Maximus closes his helmet and stands up menacingly. They struggle, and he intentionally or by accident steps on Thaddeus' foot in the power suit, and he crushes it.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So Thaddeus apparently has the key to his suit. He inserts it into the suit during the scuffle and deactivates the power armor by stealing the fusion core, right?
The fusion core, yeah. Takes his fusion core and leaves him in there.
One of the biggest headaches in the game. You run out of fusion core and have to go and find another one.
But at least you can get out of your mech with it without the fusion core. Imagine being trapped in there. That was the most brutal shit ever.
This seems like there should be enough energy stored in the suit for an emergency open up, right?
Yes.
But again, they were about productivity, not the people. They didn't care about lives.
It's a design flaw.
Yeah.
Like you said, one of my biggest gripe about the games, I love the games, but my biggest gripe about the games was for every 40 minutes you spent exploring and enjoying the game, you spent about 15, 20 minutes with inventory management or trying to limp your way back to somewhere because you can't fast travel when you're over encumbered and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he takes the head and leaves Maximus trapped within the T-60 power armor. Some time passes and some rad roaches appear and start chewing through the suit. And this is where Lucy finds him because she's been tracking the head, right? So after all her recent experiences, she is heavily distrustful, but she ends up vomiting right in front of him while they're talking. She clearly has radiation sickness. Maximus offers her some rat away if she helps him get out of the suit. She helps him out and then passes out. So when she comes to, she tells him about the tracker in the head and they agree to travel together. Back to Vault 33, it's election day between Reggie, Betty, and Woody. All great characters. Even I forget his name, the other guy was like, "I'm not voting for you. I'm actually voting."
The guy with the mustache. Yeah, that guy's awesome.
So Norm continues his investigation on his terminal. He finds archived data showing that all the previous Vault overseers at Vault 33 were transferred and came from Vault 31, including his father, Hank. He sees that Betty Pearson is one such person from Vault 31. She was previous overseer of 33, and in this episode, she is newly elected again. When things look glum, vote 31.
Yeah.
So we also find out that Stephanie is from Vault 31, and Norm asks her how it's different from Vault 33. And she says, gee, I don't know. Maybe the mashed potatoes were a little better. And Betty's first proclamation the day after the election is that she was splitting up the Vault Dwellers. Some would stay and help rebuild Vault 33, and others would be sent to 32 to do the same thing there. Norm finally gets the courage to ask Betty what happened to his mother's pit boy when she died. She lies to him and tells him it was buried with her. So then we go back to Maximus and Lucy traveling together, and this is that scene on the railroad tracks.
Where they see the other people.
Yeah, with the cannibals.
Yeah.
So Maximus ends up getting shot, and they head into the Hawthorne Medical Research Facility to look for some stims.
Yeah.
They get locked between automated doors, and the floor drops out from underneath them. They awaken without their firearms, and they appear to be inside a vault. And that's where episode 5 is.
Yeah, and this is really good as well, like the hidden vault, because one of my favourite things, especially when I played Fallout 4, was to go vault hunting. Go and find a vault. How do I get in? And every single vault is a calamity of some description.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all different.
Yeah, all different and all wild as well. Like every single vault is a very different experience. I love doing that.
Well, even on the show, they kind of explain that all the vaults were given specific tasks or experiments or were run a little differently from the other ones.
Yeah.
All right. So episode 6, The Trap. This episode has a bunch of flashbacks of Cooper's previous life as a human. You get a more sense of the societal split, including Cooper's differing values from his wife, Barb, who's the high-up Vault Tech employee.
And Bud Askins.
Yes. And he notices one day his wife has a pit boy. And we start to question as the watcher whether Vault Tech helped to start the war, to sell their products, especially the vaults. And Cooper and his wife are beginning to fight over Vault Tech policies. You know, it seems like Barb knows more than she's telling Coop. So back to Lucius and Maximus experiencing life at Vault 4. Lucy and Maximus are in quarantine until the citizens of Vault 4 determine they are radiation free. And this, where they're sitting in the quarantine together, Lucy casually asks Maximus if he would like to have sex.
Yeah.
And he says, you mean use my cock? And she said, yeah. And he replies, I don't know. That weird thing could happen. Well, it's just, she's like, what thing? He's like, well, it's just for some guys, not me. But some guys, you know, when they make a move, it gets all big and hard like a pimple, and then it pops. So you can tell he's a virgin, and he declines. And she says, okie dokie. And lays down.
This is the episode that made me like Maximus. I was kind of on the fence with Maximus.
Right.
He's kind of not an asshole character.
But he was orphaned at a young age. So he's also in a harsh society, especially the Brotherhood, where it looks like a tough place for a child to grow up.
Yeah.
You don't really have a lot of love for him, you know, up to this point.
Nope.
So this is where we meet Overseer Benjamin, Chris Parnell, and his Cyclops side.
Chris Parnell can do no wrong for me.
He's another great voice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
It is so good as well. And it's really good as well that when she meets him, like, she's so polite and she's like deliberately trying not to look at his eye and like looking at the
where
wall.
else you look?
Exactly. Look me in my eye.
And he's just got great facial expressions, and he was a great little cameo to have in there. I loved it.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So, you know, and after this, Lucy looks around, notices many other residents of Vault 4 have these strange mutations. And we, heard from previously, not all vaults are created equally. Vault 4 seems to have different regulations and policies from Lucy's vault. This vault takes in surface dwellers, for one. And so they're warned not to venture down to level 12. We don't talk about level 12. And Maximus gets caught trying to steal the vault's fusion core for his power suit. The lady, I forget her name,
she was a weird character.
Yeah, she was.
Like assistant.
Yeah.
She tries to convince him he's not a prisoner. She gives him a pit boy and tells him apartment 428 is open. Why doesn't he spend the night and have a hot shower?
Then he's like, what's a shower?
Yeah.
We pan back to Coop, who is still unconscious and and is getting well, he's inside now, so I didn't understand this part. So now he wakes up on the floor inside the super duper. Did Lucy bring it inside? I thought she just left the drugs behind and left.
It shows him like walking in.
So he must have taken some of it and went inside.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I don't know if the sheriffs would have given him anything. Anyways, he's captured by the government and brought back to the president, Sorrel Booker. And they seem to have a history, Coop and Booker. Coop ends up killing his two sheriffs. And this is where he notices a wanted poster with Moldaver's face on it. And Cooper asks about it because the last time he saw her was around 219 years previously, just before the bombing of the surface.
Yeah, I've got questions around how she's still ticking all this time later.
Well, it's clearly some Vault-Tec technology, right?
Yeah.
It's Vault-Tec or drug.
Well, I mean, we learn later on, spoiler, that Hank is also from that time. So he was in
Yeah, he was frozen, wasn't he? We'll come back to it.
So anyways, we go back to another flashback where Cooper meets up with his old wartime buddy and he asks him to come to some meeting with people who seem to be opposed to Vault-Tec. And this is where he meets Moldaver or Miss Williams. So Lucy, back at Vault 4, Lucy attends some bizarre ritual that the people of Vault 4 partake of where they get naked and rub the ashes of the dead on themselves. Some of them even appear to be drinking blood, and they're invoking the name of the Flame Mother for their salvation.
Whole lot of titties.
Yeah. There's worse parties to go to, let's be honest.
Yeah, they weren't forcing her to drink blood.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Ella Purnell, come on, participate.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody seems to be pushing her. She's clearly uncomfortable with it, but nobody's focused on her. And so then we see them waving around a tapestry of the Flame Mother, and it shows the face of Mulder. So Lucy gets out of there, and she takes this opportunity to go and explore level 12, where she finds humans being experimented on. And you see this one tank showing a woman giving birth to these carnivorous fish that start eating her immediately after birth. So that's pretty brutal.
It's rough down there. A lot of the things in the tank, you're like, oh dear.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in tanks down here. And so the episode ends with Lucy being caught and captured, and Maximus happy in his little pod, watching TV, eating popcorn.
Yeah, I think I would be happy just in a pod, just unaware of everything. I'm getting fed. I need to do a job, but I get TV and I get a shower. In this post-apocalyptic world, if I'd been with the Brotherhood and then went to that, I'd be like, I'm cool. I'm absolutely fine.
If you've seen the alternatives, I think anyone would be okay with one of those little boring pods.
Yeah.
So anyways, we are on to episode 7, The Radio. And this one, we get the dude from Chips, Eric Estrada.
Yeah.
He's a lead farmer. He's with his son. And Cooper the Ghoul has paid him and his family a visit. So we learned that Estrada had an elder boy that took up with Moldaver. Coop ended up killing him previously before he could get the information from him. And so he's trying to track Moldaver down. And he knows that his younger son, Tommy, was involved with her, and he might have the information he needs. Eric Estrada's character ends up telling his son to just tell him the truth. Let him go. He's going to kill us if you don't. And so he tells Coop that she's at the observatory, and he tries to pull a gun on him, and Cooper shoots him down. So flashback to human Cooper, and he's attending Moldaver or Miss Williams' conspiracy gathering. We learn that she knows his wife Barb, and that there's a side of her that he may not be familiar with. He's already beginning to have his suspicions, but in it, she ends up telling him about her research company that was exploring the cold fusion and how they were acquired by his wife's division at Vault-Tec. And she tells him about how they were on the verge of achieving an infinite energy source, and that Vault-Tec bought them out to put a stopper on that research because it didn't fit in with their plans. And she gives him a listening device and suggests he use it to spy on Barb to find out the truth about Vault-Tec.
Given this choice, would you spy on your spouse to get this sort of information? I found this a hard pill to swallow because
absolutely, but he's also, getting very suspicious, and they're starting to fight, and he wants to know the truth, and she's being evasive, right? I don't know. I don't know what the right. I don't know what I do here. But
Yeah, well, to add another layer to it, I mean, there is a point where he does it and then he gets weirded out by it. So he takes it off and he throws it away. And then he's like, maybe
but it's
I
also
really should.
That other guy. What's his name?
Bud Askins.
Right. So he's involved too. Again, he's going to a meeting with his wife. He's got a bad feeling about him. So maybe that helps him weigh in on.
Who, Bud Askins? Hi, I'm Bud Askins.
So anyways, back to Lucy. The overseer of Vault 4 shows her a holotape of the original residents of Vault 4 experimenting on people. And we see that this is where some of the mutants that reside in the wasteland, like the Gulper, may have derived.
Yeah.
So for her snooping, they throw a bag on her head and they march her right down Main Street, right by Maximus's window, and he watches them take off with her, right? We change point of views, POVs back to Thaddeus. And he's lugging that large bag around, one of the squires have to carry for the Brotherhood. They make it look very unwieldy and heavy. And kind of like me when I've looted a whole place or a vault and I'm trying to limp along back to my base and drop stuff off.
You're encumbered.
Yes.
How many times have you got somewhere, it's got a little bit heavy and bad, like not zombies, brutes and things have shown up and you've just dropped loads of shit to fight them and then picked it all back up and then carried on your very slow, painful trudge and then dropped it all again and then picked it all up again.
Yeah.
And this is where you take psycho. No, what was the drug that gave you like strength and carrying capacity? That would be like popping these to get my loot home.
Yeah, it might have been psycho.
There might be another one. I just can't remember. But anyways, so this is where we get to see the damage to Thaddeus's foot after he takes his boot off after his couple with Maximus.
There's no way he was fucking walking on that thing at all.
No.
It was like fucking toes hanging off.
Unless took a stem that was, when I'm holding the pain off, though, I think we've seen that stems do a little more than just painkiller properties. So yeah, his foot doesn't look good. His big toe is like barely hanging on. And this is where the dog is following him and starts licking his toe. He's like, no. And this is where he like locks the dog in a Nuka-Cola cooler.
Poor dog meat. Yeah.
Did you notice that at one point or another, though, dog meat travels with almost everyone?
Everybody.
So
yeah, awesome.
I thought that was really cool that dog meat kind of just transitions seamlessly from being with one person to another. And somewhere along every episode, dog meat's involved, but with somebody else. Right. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, because later on, Cooper tracking the head will find the dog and let him out of the freezer, and now he's with Cooper.
And it's also the Red Rocket fuel stop there, just like in Fallout 4, which is another Easter egg.
First location you find.
With dog meat there, and dog meat is actually at that location.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't remember that. Yeah. Okay, so we go back to Vault 4, where it appears like they might be about to execute Lucy. They're doing like this whole ceremony and have her tied up. Instead, they cut her loose and they tell her they're banishing her to the surface, but they're going to give her 2 weeks worth of rations. And she starts questioning. He's like, "Yeah, of course, we'll send someone to help you carry this stuff up to the surface." Chris Parnell. This is where she's like, "No, I just want." She petitions to let Maximus stay because he appears to be happy, and she wants him to be okay. And this is where the lights go out and the backup power comes on. Maximus, after seeing Lucy taken away, he stole their power core, and he's now suited up in his power armor, and another hilarious chaotic scene ensues. He starts throwing people around and trashing the place. And just like, Lucy's like, no, stop.
Yes.
It's okay. We're leaving. And he's like, oh, sorry about that. So now, next thing you know, they're both banished. Yeah. We see them riding up the elevator, the lift to get out. This is where Lucy convinces him to give them their fusion core back because the whole vault will die without it. So, where we see again his good side, he agrees to leave the fusion core behind, even though, and his power armor because it's useless.
Yeah, I don't know how you two play the game. Like that vault would have died because I'd have kept the power core.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you got to get that loot.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a thief and a murderer in every game.
Yeah, me too.
So, anyways, this is where Lucy proceeds to tell him how he's a good person, guilts him into revealing that he isn't Titus at all, but the self-loathing Maximus. And she takes it in stride, understanding that life is harsh topside and you got to do certain things to survive. So then we go to Thaddeus, who's not doing well. He comes across the snake oil salesman from earlier episodes, played by John Daly.
He's from the Nick Kroll show and a bunch of stuff. He's a good comedian.
He is a good character for the show, too.
Yeah.
Thaddeus ends up trading the power core from Titus's armor for an elixir to heal his foot. Well, he must be the most efficacious snake oil salesman ever, because this tonic heals the damage immediately to his foot. Everything reknits, and everything seems to be perfect, at least for the time being.
Yeah, you think he's like full of shit. You're like, this guy's full of shit. And then all of a sudden you see his like foot start forming.
Yeah, that was crazy. So anyways, back to Vault 33, where Lucy's brother Norm discovers that the prisoner raiders have been poisoned. And I don't think they tell you, but I have to assume it was Overseer Betty who poisoned them.
She's brutal.
Keep her secrets safe.
She is.
Poisoning in their food, the food that Norm's job was to deliver. So next we come to the reunion of Maximus and Thaddeus. And Thaddeus begins shooting at them, at Maximus and Lucy. And then he triggers the booby trap with a crossbow and gets the bolt through the neck. And they're all puzzled when he doesn't die. And we find out that whatever the snake oil guy gave him may have turned him into a ghoul. So he can no longer take the head back to the Brotherhood because they kill ghouls on sight. This is where Maximus proceeds to give Lucy the head and tells her to go save her father, while he agrees to take a decoy head back to the Brotherhood. And they kiss, and she tells him to find her in Vault 33.
That's also where we get a guest spot from Fred Armisen as well. The dude with the radio station guy who's talking about the music and the mids and the lows and the highs.
Oh, yes. So back to Vault 33, Betty sends a bunch of people over to Vault 31 and puts Stephanie Harper in charge.
That part was hilarious, too, when they're all like finding out, like,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, some of them are like, they're all finding out whether they're staying at Vault 33 or going to Vault 30.
Yeah, and the heavier set dude is like, he's devastated.
So Norm ends up hacking Betty's terminal. He sends a message to the Overseer of 31, and he says he needs to come over, and whomever he is communicating with on the other side agrees to open the vault door and let him in. And that's where we end episode 7. And so we're on to the final episode, boys.
Frustratingly, this has gone as quickly as watching the series.
Yeah.
And again, when this ends, I'm going to want more. I might have to watch the series again.
We got season 2 coming shortly, so we're all psyched for that.
Can't wait.
So episode 8, there's a lot going on in this episode. A lot is revealed.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah, a lot of skipping around.
And a brain on a Roomba.
Yeah.
Caught me off guard.
He was hilarious as well, too. You stand there.
Fucking
Stay
brilliant.
still.
Yeah.
Who appears to quote, what's the guy that we were talking about earlier, Greg? Barb's boss. You know, Bob or Gus, whatever. The guy who was her boss, never mind. You've brought up his name twice. Anyways, Maximus brings the false head back to headquarters, and Elder Claire Quintus seems to know it's the wrong head because they use some device to scan it, and they don't detect the cold fusion capsule. But he still has a use for Maximus. Power is taken, not given. He states that Maximus has learned this lesson, and he envisions a future with himself as the head of the Brotherhood, with Maximus as his sword helping to achieve this. Meanwhile, Lucy arrives at her destination, thumbs up.
Yeah, so good.
She's at the Griffith Observatory, home to the NCR, the New California Republic, who Moldaver heads up. So we have another flashback. Coop is using the device to listen in on the conversation with the meeting with Vault-Tec, a bunch of other big corporations. And throughout this, Barb is suspicious, keeps knowing that something's up with her Pip-Boy, but doesn't know exactly what.
And this conversation's dark, and this conversation is one that I could quite easily believe big corporations having this conversation. I'm listening going, yeah, this isn't out of the realms of a genuine conversation at that sort of level. It's terrifying.
This meeting with Vault-Tec and these other corporations, they're literally discussing mass murder and like an assault on the planet by dropping nukes.
Yeah.
And those are all tech companies that are in the game as well, too.
Right.
Yeah, and they're like, if we do this, we're going to make so much money. Yeah, we're going to have to live underground for like 50 years. But fuck, when we come out, we can rebuild it in our own image. It's going to be awesome.
See, that's what I didn't get. Like, what good is being rich if you're stuck living in a vault? We're going to know shortly from Norm's exploration of Vault 31 that they can extend their life.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to Lucy. She's taken to Moldaver and sees that she's keeping her father in like a giant bird cage. Moldaver seems to be having a meal with an ancient ghoul. Lucy says she thought about putting a grenade in and blowing them all up, but she says, let's keep things civil as she plops the head down on Moldaver's plate of food. So this is where Moldaver proceeds to tell her the truth about her father, that he was alive before the war. He works for Vault Tech. We go back to Norm, where he meets the brain on a Roomba.
Yeah, the brain's so cool.
Right.
When he's trying to stop him, it is just a Roomba. He's got no arms, he's got no weaponry.
And doesn't seem to have good motor skills either.
Don't go past me. No, don't go in there.
Yeah.
Don't push that button. It'll open the door. And I was like, oh, this is great. I'll just...
Stay still. I need to inject you with this.
Yeah.
Don't turn the lights on in there. Don't look around. Don't look at the terminal.
Yeah.
Norm discovers a bunch of tanks. It's not a true vault as the one he lives in. And he learns that Vault Tech put a bunch of their personnel in cryogenic slumber, and they would thaw them out as needed to replace an overseer in any of the vaults. And we see tanks with the name Betty Pearson and Hank McLean on them. Hanks has details on it. His entry date is October 23rd, 2077, and his exit is August 9th, 2268. So then we flashback again where Coop's been listening in, and young Betty Pearson comes in, and she's brought in Henry, who's a huge fan of Coop, and he introduces himself as Hank McLean. So it's Lucy's father, pre-bombs, pre-cryogenic freeze.
This was a big oh fuck moment for me. I was like, oh no, it's you.
Right.
It's a really cool reveal because for the most part, that the ghoul doesn't really fit into the past story apart from you see that bit at the beginning, and it's this bit where you go, oh, they're all connected, it all makes sense, you've put so much effort to make everyone linked, and it's so clever.
There were a lot of things we didn't know. They revealed a lot in episode 8.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was a big reveal, a lot of reveals.
So yeah, we learned that when Lucy was a small child, her mother discovered there were people living on the surface, so she fled with young Lucy and Norm, and she came across a prosperous city and tried to start a new life outside the vault. That city was Shady Sands from the games. Moldaver claims her father, Hank, came after his wife, Rose, took the children back, and raised the city by dropping another nuke. Moldaver tells her of her vision to build a better place using her cold fusion research from so many years ago, but she needs the Vault Tech employee who knows the codes to enact the cold fusion. So that's why Hank is still alive and in a cage. She needs the codes from him. And this is where we get another reveal that the decrepit and unintelligible ghoul that's been sitting at the table is indeed Lucy's mother, Rose.
Yeah.
So yeah, she looks like the crypt keeper. She can't speak. Yes. So Lucy just tells her father to give her the code. He finally relents, types in the code, and the initiation process begins. And this is where the alarms go off and the Brotherhood of Steel assault begins. NCR is prepared, though. They have anti-aircraft turrets and man-operated rocket launchers. So a bloody battle ensues. Every battle in this show is over the top and violent and gory. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So amidst the battle, Maximus finds his way to the top of the observatory where Hank and Lucy are. Hank had been pleading with Lucy to open a cell so they could go home together. Max, without any thought after learning that that's her father, he shoots the lock off and frees Hank. While Lucy is trying to explain how her father is the one that dropped the bomb on Shady Springs, where a child Maximus lived and only survived because he was in a refrigerator. So in the confusion, Hank finds and dons some power armor and knocks Maximus out. Lucy draws Max's 10mm pistol and points it at her father's head because he isn't wearing a helmet. And downstairs, Cooper is tearing up the Brotherhood, armored and unarmored alike. So he seems to know some weak point in the power armor. This is where I was like, oh, convenient. He didn't use this during his fight in Philly with Maximus, right? Why didn't he just put a bullet in his chest plate and end that fight? Anyways, Cooper joins the party at the top of the observatory He shoots and grazes Hank's unprotected face, a warning shot, and he utters something from their original meeting 200 plus years prior, indicating that he knows and remembers who he is. He calls him Henry, and he wants to know where his wife and child are. And this is where Hank flees, using the built-in jet propulsions in the suit to jump off the observatory. Now, were there any of these jet propulsions in the game? I don't remember. Did any Power Armor have
I don't
this?
think so.
You had like a boost button that if you jumped off something high, you could kind of slow your descent.
I thought I remember something like that, but not actually be able to fly. But yeah, but again, he's not flying here. He kind of just descends, right, to get away.
Yeah.
The only flying part was that ridiculous part in Philly where Cooper lassos him and his suit flies around uncontrollably like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Anyways, Cooper is off the track Hank again. I mean, he's on the trailer once again. He's chasing someone. He offers Lucy to come with him, and she decides to leave unconscious Maximus behind with a plan to seek him out when she's done. She knows that he'll be safe with the Brotherhood, so they're not going to hurt him. Before leaving, this is where she uses the 10mm pistol and shoots her own mother in the head.
Well, you think she's like pointing it at the ghoul at first?
Yeah.
Pointing at Coop. He turns around, the shot fires, and she shoots her mother. A presumed mercy, but still a little weird.
Especially with Mother's Day coming up, you know?
It's very dark. There's bits in this that are very, very kind of like, oh.
Even Moldaver, who appears to be friends with her mother from the past, keeps her alive. She didn't show her mercy. Then her own daughter comes in and just shoots her.
Yeah.
Didn't even hug her because she's a zombie. She didn't want to touch her zombie mom. And later on, Maximus awakens, calling for Lucy, and direly wounded Moldaver comes in and activates the cold fusion. And she gets to see the electricity come alive to the city before she bleeds out. And Maximus takes credit for her death, and it's presumed that he will be knighted after the battle because they're all saying, Knight Maximus, Knight Maximus.
Yeah.
So, and here we are at the end. The season ends with Norm still sealed within Vault 4 by Brain on a Roomba. Coop, Lucy, and Dogmeat are pursuing Hank, and we're teased with an image of Hank arriving at the city of New Vegas. And that's where the show ends.
And it ends with the skull of a Deathclaw.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to see a Deathclaw in season 2, I would imagine.
We better.
And I can't wait to see New Vegas.
Yeah.
And what's his name gets added to the cast? Guy from Breaking Bad?
Oh,
yes.
Also, Macaulay Culkin.
Paul?
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin's been added as well.
Yes.
Oh, and Aaron Paul's added as well?
I thought so. Am I wrong?
Okay, cool. Sick.
No, you're not wrong.
And Walton Goggins has talked about season 2, says it's better than the first, and, season 2 is usually where things just pick up.
Yep.
And we're all looking forward to seeing that, I believe.
In my opinion, the album of a band, second season of a TV series is usually the best one. Fargo is a perfect example. Fucking one of the best seasons of TV. Not True Detective. Season 1 True Detective is the good one.
Great first season and bring on season 2. Do we know when season 2 starts?
They're done filming. I think they just gotta mix and edit it all up. So
yeah, they've not announced a date yet, which is frustrating.
So it's probably 2026, probably.
I'd like it to be the end of this year.
I don't think so. I think it's coming this year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So we got a few more things. Break it down in an acronym. Sheamus, favorite character or characters?
Lucy and Thaddeus. I loved Lucy's naiveness and she's just got a good heart, but she's also like funny and badass, just okie dokie and just like just talking about sex like it ain't no thing. And just Thaddeus was funny to me. I loved his character as well, and the actor that played him was great. So those are probably my favorite characters.
Scott, you got a favorite character or characters?
Yeah, I really like Dogmeat.
Nice.
I really, really, really do. That dog is involved in every plot and storyline of every major moment that happens to a character, and it's always just there. And I really appreciate it because it's such a game thing that they've thrown in. My other favourite character is the overseer of Vault 4.
Yes.
Just fucking brilliant. Everything he says is fabulous. And I don't think he's going to because they're moving locations, but I would love him to be involved in season 2.
Me too.
Yeah. That'd be awesome if they found him like on the wasteland somewhere or something like that.
Yeah.
In the game with dog meat, couldn't you like stash stuff on him? Use him as a mule?
Yeah.
All your people, you could, yeah.
Yeah, you are over encumbered. Come here, boy. Take all of this power armor for me, thanks.
I would over encumber my party members and still be over encumbered.
Yeah.
So Ryan said Lucy was a highlight for him. Her doe-eyed expression and determination was a highlight of the show, and he looks forward to seeing what she will bring to the next season.
She's going to be harder in season 2, especially if she's traveling with Coop, right?
For sure.
And she's probably going to get Coop to bring back some of Coop's humanity and, thaw him a little, I surmise.
I'm sure they'll butt heads a little bit, but it'll be a good relationship to watch form.
Yeah, she's probably going to get him to, like, spare someone or something like that, appeal to his humanity.
I don't know if you watched The Walking Dead. I'm expecting very much a Maggie and Negan dynamic with these two when they come back.
Yeah.
But both very badass, but both really don't get along that well, but they're in a situation where they have to get along. That's where I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I can see that. For my favorite characters, I kind of cheesed out, and all the main characters, Lucy, Maximus, and Cooper were my favorite, but also Thaddeus was excellent as well.
And the snake oil salesman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember early, I didn't mention it, but remember like early, when you first see him, remember like he's getting like beat up by like some farmer and stuff, and Maximus comes like thinks he's saving him, and
he's trying
like,
to fuck
my chickens.
So the A is acting, and we do it in the crustometer meter, which is 8 slices of pizza. So from scale of 1 to 8, I give this a 7 out of 8 for acting.
I'm the same, 7 crusts.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's great across the board.
Ryan as well, 7 crust. For L, love it, like it, or loathe it. Ryan loved it. I loved it.
love it, I think.
I love it. Yeah.
It's like McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Do.
So, did it leave a lasting impression, or was it forgettable? Obviously, for me, it left a lasting impression. I always think about Fallout. When this show came out, I was like, I need to fucking play Fallout. I went back to Fallout Shelter, which is like the mobile game, which I love Fallout Shelter. I like platinum that game, and I fucking went back to Fallout Shelter. I downloaded Fallout 4 again. I was like, this is the best.
I think I went back to 76 and gave it a shot, and it was much better now.
Yep.
Yeah. I replayed 3. I've just replayed 4. I need to play New Vegas again. I haven't played New Vegas for a long time. What are you going to do
when they come out with the remaster of 3 or 4? Are you going to go through it again?
Yeah, probably.
They just did the remaster of 4. The remaster of 4 came out like probably a month after the show, which is awesome. Ryan obviously said it left a lasting impression. He's hyped for the next season. Combination of comedy and hyper violence made me excited for more.
Yeah, I mean, I love that the gritty, dark, humorous stayed true to the essence of the games.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the core for me, is the game is such, like, if someone asked you to explain the game to someone and explain what it's like to play it, it's really difficult to do. But this series seemed to capture what it's like to play that game. Like, you could say, well, you see this series, you see where she meets a random person, just fucks her over for no reason at all. That's the game.
Absolutely.
For hundreds of hours, that is the game.
You're getting fucked over by a character, or you're fucking over some NPC,
Yeah.
So we all loved it, obviously, but there was one thing you could change, Scott. What would you change?
I wanted to see a couple of other locations from the games. Like, we saw the garage, we saw the gas station. There was a couple of other, like the vaults. We've seen the vaults. The place I really want to see, and it's because it's my favorite place in all of the games, is Megaton.
Yes.
I would love to have seen, even if it was a passing through, going into Megaton, just that sort of, there's a fucking nuclear bomb, like, in the middle of the town square. Why is there a nuclear bomb? Like, I wanted to see that, and I really wanted to see the sheriff character from Megaton, like that badass sheriff guy. Like, I wanted to see that. And also the girl who gives you all the side quests to go and write the handbook. I'd love to have seen the survival handbook pop up at some point. Someone give her, well, you need this, and then she reads through it, and it's like, oh, this is really handy. Like, I kind of wanted more nods to Fallout 3. I think Fallout 3 was kind of neglected a little bit in this.
Yeah, I can see that.
What's the faction for? You start with The Minutemen, is it?
Yeah, the Minutemen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Minutemen.
wonder if they're going to like bring them into season 2.
Hell yeah. What's that one thing you would change, Sheamus?
That scene in the end of Philly, the lasso, and the cartoonish way that he defeated Maximus bothers me. I feel like they could have wrote something else in there, but other than that, that's just nitpicking. I loved the show. And, it was great.
Ryan said the one thing he would change is the day that we recorded this episode. Assholes.
Sorry, Ryan. We would love to have you here.
And my one complaint is I wanted more creatures. Like
Yeah.
I wanted more
think-
rad scorpions. I didn't need like a
I
shit
think that's
ton.
for season 2.
Yeah, probably. Yep. And obviously with the Death Claw.
Plus, we didn't see a super mutant yet, right? So they're gonna...
No, we haven't.
And
Also,
I was waiting for that. Like at when he was injecting the cold fusion in his neck, I thought it was something that was going to like change him into like a super mutant for a second.
yeah. Also, mole rats. Like there's
Yes.
loads of
Yep.
missions where you come across not
They're
just
at the
one.
gas
but-
stations.
yeah, and there's lots of them as well. So like, I'd like to see a scene where they go in a room and like there's fucking mole rats everywhere. That'd be cool because again, they're hard to kill.
What are those giant mosquitoes too?
Oh, they're
yeah, the blood
fucking
sucker.
annoying.
The blood wisp or something.
blood bugs.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised they didn't have rad scorpions. Like I expected to see at least one rad scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those bugs are the most annoying thing in Fallout 4. They always come at the most inopportune time. Like you've killed like 4 or 5 people, you're dying, you've run out of stim pack, you're trying to limp back, and then there's like 4 of these things like, oh, fucking no.
You can't outrun those things. Those things are
No.
awesome.
No.
So for you, we have an unexpected scene. And for Ryan, he said the guy who was fucking the chickens. I was expecting, but it was clucking hilarious. I didn't talk to Ryan about this, but that was my unexpected scene as well. The fucking guy, when it was revealed that he was fucking the chickens.
Yeah, that was great.
Scott, you got an unexpected scene?
Mine was the massacre in the vault at the very beginning. Like they
Yes.
do the wedding and like everything's going so well. And I was so bought into, oh, this is nice. I wonder what's going to make what's going to get her out of the vault. I don't see anything wrong here. And then when it's like, he wiped his dick on the curtains, like, oh shit, this is all going horribly wrong. Like now, I was like that scene, like in that, like fake cornfield, like the fake sunset,
Yeah.
that sort of all of the raiders coming out. It's so brutal. And I sat there just with my jaw on the floor, like, I did not see this coming. They've killed like 11 characters I've been introduced to
Right.
already. So good.
Yes.
I'm gonna change mine. Unexpected scene is him wiping his dick on the curtain.
That battle was chaotic and funny and gritty and it just showed you like, all right, this is what I'm in for. And I was sold. My unexpected scenes were 2 scenes with the Gulper, one where they ate the head, and the second part when Thaddeus and Maximus come across the same Gulper. And,
Yeah.
I just love that shit.
Yeah, that's good stuff. In honor of having Scott from the You Run podcast, we're bringing back his thing, 3-word review. And for me, it's a ghoulishly rad show.
Nice. I went with Nukes, Ghouls, Capitalism.
Nice.
Oh, brilliant. I'm going to go with best show ever because this
Nice.
is the best. This is the best opening season of any show I've seen.
Well,
Yeah.
Scott, then let's make a pact. We're going to come back and do season 2.
100%. Yeah. I'm saying yes. If season 2's bad, I'm going to be so depressed. But yes, I'll definitely come back and talk about it.
I don't see it being bad.
No, I don't.
Maybe we'll get Ryan on this time as well, too.
Yes.
That'd be good.
Ask the people for 3-word reviews. Brother Rogers said, better than game. My keyboard player, Chris Brandolini, said, super crunchy awesome. I don't know what that means. Fallout the cereal? Who knows? My guitar player, Dre, said, great dystopian fun. Our buddy Hawk that we play games with and good friend says, post-apocalyptic bliss.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bloody Babble from Instagram said, perfection, personified, genuinely.
Nice. So he loved it as well.
Michelle says, retro apocalyptic fun.
Yeah, it is. Because, I mean, everything's like mirrored after like the 50s or whatnot.
Yeah.
And last but not least, from You Run Podcast Network, Dewey Pod's own John says, Walton Goggins' teeth.
Not his nose. And like you see him like eating in a few scenes too, and he's great in those scenes, but he's also like he disgusts me while he's eating too.
Yeah.
I don't like watching a noseless ghoul eat.
He's got like chiclets, even when in the flashbacks, his teeth are like perfect. It's crazy.
Y'all got me building up an appetite. Whatever when he attacks Philly.
And last but not least, Ryan says, "War never changes."
Nice quote from the show.
It's deep. Yeah. There was a deep cut 3-word review.
Before we end this, I got a quick little would you rather. So we're going to do that and then end the show. Scott, would you rather have 3 more seasons or 3 more games?
Oh, fuck, that's hard. I'm going to say 3 more seasons, because if I had 3 more games, I'd probably end up divorced quite quickly.
Yes, you can't. That's at least 300 plus hours there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, it's more than that, because when I finished it, I'll go, oh, now I'm going to go through, I'm going to be a nice person, and I'm going to play it again.
Myself, I love the show, but the games are where it all derived for me. I've loved every one. I would love to see 3 more games, but they need to update it a little bit. They're a little dated now. The gunplay needs to be changed, some other things. And I want to see a little overhaul on the next one, but I would love to see 3 more games.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I would like to see 3 more games, but if it was 3 more seasons instead, that's fine as well, too. It's all fucking good.
Yeah.
All right. Sheamus, would you rather face 5 rad scorpions or 1 deathclaw?
Whew. I'm taking 5 rad scorpions any day. I'll make mince meat of that. And the death claw is something you really gotta be ready for.
Well, rad scorpions ain't no joke either.
Yeah, but let's put it this way: one death claw is gonna tear apart those rad scorpions, and I've died more to death claws than I ever did to rad scorpions.
Death claws are fucking brutal. Those things are rugged. Scott, same question.
Yeah, 100%. I'm taking on the rad scorpions. The amount of times I come across a death claw and didn't have enough equipment or ammo or whatever it was, my only option was to try and run, and it always failed.
Yeah, because they're fucking fast as fuck. They'll catch you.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's where you load it, and you either avoid it or come up with a better way to
yeah, reload. Yeah. Scott, would you rather be a vault dweller or a wastelander?
Vault dweller all day long. Ignorance is bliss, and I'd be quite happy in a vault, not knowing what's going on above me. Give me whatever task I need to do for the amount of hours I need to do it, and then the rest of the time is my own. You get to meet people that are free with sex, like they are in this show. Like a vault life is not a bad life, given the alternative.
You can still podcast as well too.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Coming to you from Vault 5.
We got our guest Greg Hoey from Vault 7.
Okie dokie, I'm ready.
I mean, romantic me, yes, wants to be a wastelander and live out adventures, but, realistic me says, if I had to go topside and live in that atmosphere, I would have to give up a part of myself, and give up my morals. I would have to do things that I wouldn't be proud of, and I don't want to have to taint myself in that scenario.
Yeah. Vault dweller for me as well too. I like my nose where it is. So
popcorn in my hot showers. I mean, I just want to sit there and watch my TV.
Sheamus, would you rather be a ghoul or a super mutant?
I mean, there's not that many intelligent ghouls. Most of them are feral in the games, right? Do I get to be an intelligent ghoul?
What do they call people? Skin jobs? What type of skin job?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I think there was remember that one ghoul that was running the town there?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather be that sort of ghoul than just a heartless, dumb brute killing anything in sight and eating. Actually, didn't the super mutants eat people too?
Yeah.
Actually, I guess the ghouls did too.
Hanging down.
Actually, Cooper was cutting off butt steaks on the show.
Yeah, it's gross.
You can see him hanging from his belt at one point when he's marching Lucille.
Yeah, they were drying on his backpack or whatever. Scott?
I'm gonna be a ghoul. I can't be a super mutant. Yeah. I'm definitely being a ghoul. I'm just going to be happy pumping myself with narcotics to stay intelligent. And yeah, I'm just going to stick being a ghoul. Super mutants are not only incredibly dumb, but they're incredibly violent for no reason. At least as a ghoul, you've still got an element of choice in your life.
Right. You still maintain some of your humanity, whereas super mutants lost all that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'll be a ghoul as well too. Just hopefully I have a nice drug stash.
Right. Got to have a good dealer.
All right, so this is the final question. Would you rather, this one's for Scott, would you rather live in the Fallout world or the Elder Scrolls world?
Oh, both of those are shit worlds to go and live in.
I mean, you could be a vault dweller in the Fallout world, or
I think I'm going to go with the Elder Scrolls world purely for the fact that I don't need to deal with radiation.
Yeah, right. They have a lot of peaceful towns that aren't like Philly and whatnot. I'm definitely going Elder Scrolls because I want to have all kinds of magic spells at my disposal.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Fallout just to disagree with you guys and be difficult.
Also, I want to try some of that Nern root. And some skooma. Skooma's illegal.
All right. Well, that wraps up our episode with Fallout. Thanks to everybody who contributed. Like I said, we rep the You Run Podcast Network. We can find us and all the other awesome shows there. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Pod. And if you want to join our Patreon for just $1, you can get episodes up to a week early and you can help out the show. Sheamus?
Same thing. Thanks to all our listeners. Thanks to our special guest, Scott. We appreciate you coming on again, man. It's been great talking with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. And I really enjoyed going back through this. And it's not very often I rewatch a TV series. So normally I watch a TV series, it's done. Like having the opportunity to come on here, it was an excuse that I kind of needed. And on this second watch, I picked up so much more of those little
That's what I was saying to Greg earlier. I took so much more away from watching it again. I'm glad I had the excuse to go back through it because it just made me appreciate the show even more. And
Scott has already promised to come back for season 2. He said he would 100% be here. So he's coming back. And hopefully we'll have Ryan.
So make sure we can do it a day when Ryan can make it.
But yeah, check out Scott's show. You Run a podcast, horror movie review. Check out his true crime show with Heather. Obviously, You Run horror movie review with Mark. Both excellent shows. Obviously, check out everybody on the network. And I don't know, Scott, you got anything else to say?
No, that's about it. YouRunPodcast.com. Check out all the network members. And when you check them out, when you go and you listen to them on Spotify, do something free that helps. And it really does help. And so many people listen to podcasts and don't do this. When you're listening, if you just tap back, you're still listening. You've got the little star. Tap on that star and give it a 5-star rating because that bumps shows up the charts and allows more people to find them. So if you like a show and you can't afford to subscribe to the Patreon, you can't buy their merch or whatever it may be, that shit's free.
Yep.
Do that.
Still
and that helps.
It takes one little click.
Yeah. And it makes such a difference. So do that. That's my parting shot. Review the fucking shows you love. Do that.
Yeah. Absolutely helps out podcasts a lot to review them. So check out YouRunPodcast.com. Thanks for Scott for coming on again. And remember, in Crust, we trust.
This ends our podcast.
When you play the game, you find just these random bullshit characters that don't do anything. And as soon as that happened, I was like, is this going? Oh no, it's just someone to waste her time.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.